Thank you.
As a token of gift from our side.
Ma'am, it's maybe you
Why?
that ma'am.
This is
Thanks for being a part of this Apti Plus and welcome to AR50. So, sir, you can start the session.
Sure. I'll just put on the mic. So thank you everyone for being here. I think first of all, it's an honor to be here at Apti Plus Institute. So আমি বাংলাতে পুরো ব্যাপারটা করতে চাই না, আমি ইংরেজিতে করতে চাই for the greater audience, because I think from what I've been told that it will go to YouTube as well. So I'll do this in English. So yeah. So when I was invited here, I thought very hard that what is it that I should talk about? Because for me, it's been a long journey. I started in 2018. I'll talk about it. So I wanted to talk a little about, something that I feel will help all of you. And before that, I just wanted to show of hands that how many of you have given the prelims exam or at least one cycle of this exam even once, the civil service exam. Can you raise your hands? So apart from that, everyone, none of you have given this exam even once, is it? Am I equal? Fine. Yes, then I think this is even more relevant for all of you. So I want to start with a little unconventional sort of. Okay. So I'll start with a little unconventional method. So all of you have watched cricket, right? So can you tell me what this is? What is this specific thing called? Wagon wheel. This wagon wheel is actually very special. Do you know what this is called? I mean, what does this signify? This is a very special event that happened in Indian cricket. Can anyone tell me? I'll be very impressed if you can tell me this. Sorry? Yes, I think you should clap for this guy because that's a very awesome cricket knowledge. So Sachin Tendulkar's favorite cricket shot is the coveted. And in this test series in 2003 and 2004, he was scoring 0, 1, 37 and 0 in the 4 innings. After that, he decided that he's not going to play his favorite shot and give that up and play an innings of around 6 or 7 hours. He scored 241 on this January 4, 2004 without playing his favorite shot for 6 hours. Just let that sink in. That is Sachin Tendulkar. Why I wanted to talk about that is, so this is him celebrating this. I think what happened is best summarized by what Joy Bhattacharya, if you know, he's the owner or manager for Kolkata Knight Riders, right? He tweeted this a few months back, saying that genius is not also about what you do, but what you can stop yourself from doing. And he mentioned Sachin's 241, and this is the wagon wheel. The point I'm trying to make is that just like cricket, UPSC, it is also important to know what not to do, and that would be the subject of what I'm trying to say here. It has been a long journey of mine. I'm going to share that. I started in 2018 and I made a lot of mistakes. This was my 4th attempt. What I want for you to take back is to know what the mistakes that you should not do while preparing for such an unpredictable exam. And I think this would be equally relevant for people who want to prepare for the WBCS as well, because the format is a sort of similar. Now, yes. So welcome everyone. So this is me, as you know, All India 50 UPSC Civil Services Exam. Yeah, I'll start with a disclaimer that this is just things that work for me. It's not necessarily that it will work for all of you. But what you should take back is that you should understand the essence of what I'm trying to say. I'm going to list down a few mistakes that I made and I'm going to elaborate on them. So please take back the essence of that and try to figure out which are the mistakes that you probably will be making or that you can try to stop yourself from making, knowing what, using my own experience, right? So that is, I would be very happy if that is the only thing that you can take back from all of this. Right. So this is my journey in a nutshell. 2018, 19, 20 and 21. 18, I failed prelims. 2019, I failed prelims. 2020, I passed prelims by a small margin, but I got pretty bad marks in my optional subject, which was anthropology. And 2021, surprisingly, the cutoff was 87. I got 118. and I got all India rank 50 after giving the mains and interview. So it's been a long journey, but what I've tried to do is I've tried to prevent myself from making the same mistake twice. I think that is very important for all of you to not make the same mistake twice, because that is a crime. I mean, it's okay, it's human to make mistakes. We all do, and this is an unpredictable exam, so some of your mistakes will be magnified. But please do not make the same mistake twice. Smart people will learn from their mistakes, but very smart people will learn from others' mistakes. So it's up to you whether you want to learn from my mistake or not. And this is my humble a few pointers for what mistakes I will be done, which I hope that you will not make. So yeah, the first mistake that I made is not seeking guidance in the initial days. So I work in Bangalore in Texas Instruments, and as an engineer. And while I joined, there was no intention of mine to prepare for the civil services. But eventually, the intention arose. But the mistake that I made is that I did not seek guidance from anyone, any topper earlier, any senior, or even I was too lazy to go to the YouTube and search about people's strategies, because a lot of material is available in the internet as well. So that was one mistake that I made, and that cost me dearly, I would say, in my first attempt, because I did not know what hit me in the prelims 2018. So yeah, like I said, YouTube strategy videos are available a lot, and I'm going to refer to this word ancestor because my optional is anthropology. So when I say ancestor, I mean successful seniors who crack this exam. So ancestor wisdom is the word which I'll be mentioning a lot. It's a humorous way of saying that the wisdom of the previous year's toppers. Yes. So that was mistake number one. So mistake number two was not being able to consolidate whatever I studied. Now, it's an open secret that the civil service exam sort of does not have a syllabus. And what that means is there is a broad amount of material that you have to study. So, where do you put a stop? And most importantly, how much time will you give for revision? That is very important. I did not do that in my first and second attempt. And even for anthropology in my third attempt, that was not something that I did, and it cost me nearly 3 attempts. So that was the mistake number two. So like I mentioned here, I did that first, second, and third attempt in varying degrees. So please try to consolidate whatever you have done, make your notes properly, and have a cutoff date, like I mentioned here, that after which you don't have to add any more new notes. It's just the same thing that you have revised and revised. Because, I mean, the more you move ahead in this journey, you're going to realize, and I think this is for WBCS also very much valid, that your revision and practice is something that is going to actually make you win this exam rather than learning new things from 10 different places. So that is option mistake number two. This is very important. Not practicing mock tests. Now, mock tests exist for a reason. Again, use ancestor wisdom to find out whether which mock test is relevant or which is at par with standard of UPSC, like I mentioned here. And this is very important to practice the correct mock tests. Now, there are many in the market which may claim to be a UPSC standard, but they may be not. So you have to use your own experience, wisdom, and your this one and ancestor wisdom also to find out what works at the UPSC standard level. What the mock test did for me in prelims is that it helped me find my overall accuracy. So I knew that if I attempted around 94 to 95 questions with the accuracy that I have, I'll be able to clear this exam with good marks. Now that can vary based on the average difficulty level of the paper. But again, the standard of the mock test that you do, right? A full length, good standard UPSC mock test, you have to find your accuracy and you have to move forward. This is very important. It cost me 2 attempts in prelims. So please remember that. And for mains, of course, the mock test will help you to practice. And secondly, it will help you to realize how you think while answering a question. I'm going to talk about this later. You'll realize that I have a little unconventional approach towards approaching the mains. I am more interested in trying to understand what thoughts go into my mind when I'm writing an answer in mains, or in the interview stage, what thoughts go in the mind of the people who are asking me the questions. That has worked for me, but again, you have to use your judgment, but this is important. That you have to help the examiner give you marks, not help him to cut marks for you. Right? That goes without saying, but that is something that is not valued as much by aspirants that I have seen, and I made that mistake in my first few attempts and it was failure. Just before that, am I going too fast or too slow, and are you able to understand everything that I'm saying? Like, is it audible correctly with the correct amount of, right? Okay. Am I going too fast? Good. Okay. Yeah. This is also very important. In fact, all of these are important according to me. The first two attempts, the mistake that I made is I did not prepare keeping mains in mind. I thought that mains to ho hi jayega. Mera answer writing, I come from the ICSE background. So answer writing, I am a boss in answer writing, I know how to do very well. In my third attempt also, I did it for anthropology, which was my optional. I did not practice answer writing in anthropology, and again, it cost me very dearly. I got GSI marks in the optional paper also. The point I'm trying to make is you will not get enough time after your prelims before your mains. You have those 3 months, right? Like right now, the prelims finished some days ago, and I think it's end of August, end of September, the mains exam. So those 3 months, it is my firm belief that you should not be studying anything new at that time. You should only be revising and practice, and all your mains related material also should be complete before the prelim starts. I mean, this is something that can vary a little bit, I think, but I think the essence is something that you must remember, that not doing simultaneous mains preparation along with prelims is something that may cost you, because you will not have much time after your prelim. Will be 100 things that you need to do. The value additions, the practicing, your optional is going to take up around 60-70% of your revision time. So you're not going to get much. Not going to get much time. So and ma'am is sitting here. I have seen her lectures on sociology, and one of the things that I think she mentioned is also that you should be revising the things in after your prelims rather than doing new study, because it is going to take a lot of your time, the anthropology or the optional per se. This is very important. This is probably the most important thing that is going to help you clear the exam. Not practicing answer writing enough is something that will definitely bite you 110%. This is probably the crux of my UPSC journey, answer writing practice. Because you see 1750 marks, like all of you probably would be aware of the civil service format, right? For those who are not, there is a 1750 marks, 7 papers in the mains. There are 9 papers, but 2 are not counted for marking. There are 1750 marks and 275 marks for the interview. So you can see how much percentage of the total mark goes for the mains. Now, the most important skill of UPSC, according to me, is written communication. The second most important is the spoken communication. If these two things are good for you, then you have a head start from other people. If they may not be good for the 99% of us. I was also one of them, that my written communication as per UPSC standard was not good enough. So I had to practice a lot. That I did not do in my third attempt, especially for my optional, and that beat me. And so practicing having very good answer writing skills will actually help you will act as a safety net also. For example, this time GS1 paper, there were a few questions, or in fact, 3 or 4 questions which were quite difficult. Like, I don't know how many of you know this, they asked about some volcano somewhere in the world, and they asked to write a 15 mark, I think, or 10 mark question. That is not something which 99% of the people will know the answer to. But then, if your answer writing skills are good enough, right, you can write a general answer around that word. Don't bluff. You will be penalized if you bluff. But there is a difference between writing a bluffed answer versus writing a generalist answer. You don't know the answer to that, and you can write a generalist answer. What I did is I wrote a little about volcanoes. I wrote about 1 or 2 volcanoes that may have heard somewhere. I drew the map of the world just to fill up some space, because I mean anything that you do is value addition there. Sorry, yeah. So I mapped some things, some volcanoes there. The point I'm trying to make is, if you have good answer writing skills and if you have value addition materials here and there, you can put them in your answers, and that will act as a safety net against very low marks. I got 112 or 113 in my GS1, in spite of not knowing the answers to many questions. So that is how important your answer writing skill is, and trust me, I'm telling you again, this is the most important skill in the UPSC Civil Service journey. Yeah, this beat me very badly in my first and second attempt. I was madly in love with this FOMO syndrome, that somewhere, some internet, I see some material that this is very good, or some toppers notes that I see somewhere, and I used to add that, ये भी पढ़ना है मुझे, and कब पढ़ना है वो मुझे नहीं पता, लेकिन पढ़ना है. So the fear of missing out syndrome is something that you should go away from. It is natural though that you are going to feel that I'm missing out on something which everyone is studying or something. But have trust in your notes. I mean, it is my firm belief that a good strategy is you work very hard in the first few days to create that excellent extensive notes. Like you refer to 5 or 6 or how much of the sources you want, have extensive notes, but you come out of that cycle and get in the revision and recycling, revision and practice cycle, because that is going to actually help you rather than so many books and so many things. I mean, it's important to have a broad coverage, but it is also equally important to have time to revise that whatever notes you have made, right? I hope that makes sense, right? Yeah. So people say, right, that studying one source 10 times or 100 times is better than studying 100 sources one time. That is absolutely true. Yeah, like I mentioned, you work very hard to prepare the notes first, and then you get into the revise and practice cycle. Yeah, but also while practicing, you have to come across some new things which you may have missed in your preparation. So feel free to add that to your notes, but add only those things to your notes. Don't add an entire book or entire new source into your notes format and again start the revision cycle. So I hope that you have understood the essence of this point. This is something that really built me, and I really hope that you don't make this mistake. And I'm pretty sure this goes for the WPCS exam as well. Limiting your sources is something that will help you rather than act as I would say, a scarcity of knowledge. Yeah, the essay and optional papers are very important in ways. They are the papers that if you screw up or if you do badly, you are going to sink. If you do them very well, you are going to do well. I got very good marks this time in in my essay paper, and TikTok okay, better than okay marks in my anthropology option, and very good marks in my essay. So I was able to get quite good marks, and I got a very good rank. So yeah, I realized this after my 3 attempts that optional and essay are the makers or breakers. It's not the other way around that the GS are the more important, because GS is overall everyone knows it's similar to prelims and all these things. You get TikTok marks there if you can write good enough answers with good value addition. But this optional and essay is what is going to set you apart. So please remember that. I mentioned this earlier that studying new base stuff after prelims is something that may not be very beneficial for you, because you're going to reduce your time, first of all, for GS revision, and secondly, more importantly, for your optional revision. Because it has been my experience and the experience of other people also that around 60 to 70% of your revision time after prelims is going to get caught up with optional. So you have to limit studying new stuff. Yes, that being said, there is one new stuff that you have to study anyways. That is the current affairs parts in the 2 or 3 months after your prelims, because that anyways you would not have covered, right, for your mains. So that you study from a new source, you get some notes, but don't study anything apart from it. The point I'm trying to make is study least new things after your prelims. Okay. Yeah, any questions till now? We're going to have a questionnaire session, a small questionnaire session after this. But any questions till now? Am I going too fast? Sure. Things are making sense? Yes. Okay, thank you. This is very important according to me. It will set your answers apart from other people. You see, everyone has passed the prelims and found, right? So everyone has a good enough knowledge base. They are as good as you. How do you set your answer apart from other people? Because the point here is not to get the best mark. The point here is just to get 1 mark more than your competitor. So how do you do that? According to me, it should be done by value additions. And these are some of the things that I have done. One is I have memorized some introductions and conclusions of some themes. For example, in art and culture, there is let's say it is asked that how did the Mughal architecture be affected by the Hindu elements? Then the introduction can be a little bit about the Mughal. So you memorize the introduction, you memorize the conclusions. So yeah, let me say this before I forget that I have a Telegram channel. I don't know how many of you have joined it or not. It's called Abhijit Ray. I'll share it with these folks as well. Abhijit Ray, AIR 50 UPSC CSE 2021. There I have shared all my previous notes. I'm going to share all my mains notes, all of these things in detail. And anything and everything that I have done in the UPSC journey in these 4 years, I'm going to share it. So please do join that. I think it will be very beneficial for a lot of people. I have very good faith in my art and culture notes and this one, some GS2 notes. I can tell you that it will be really helpful for you. So please do join. Everything is written there, how to study those subjects from my notes and everything. So I would really request all of you to join it because just have a look. It might be beneficial. Yeah. So like I was mentioning, the ability to draw the Indian map. I drew 10 India maps and 4 world maps in my GS1 answer script. And I got very good marks, 113 actually. Although I did not know, like I said, right, some of these answers specifically. So these are the things that will help you. The main value additions which will increase your possibility of getting good marks or act as a safety net, like I was mentioning. Not revising enough. It is obvious, but it is something which is not taken, which is taken for granted by people. That yeah, we are going to remember stuff. We just have to keep reading new stuff. No, that's not the approach for both prelims as well as mains. And I'm sure even in the WBCS exam also, you really need a lot of time for revision rather than keeping it. You keep on learning new things. उससे काम होता नहीं है. It is a revision that helps you remember stuff. It is a revision that helps you reproduce stuff in your main answers, right? So it is very, very important. But I mean, most of these things will seem very obvious to you. It seems obvious to me also. But actually, these are the things that people forget. Trust me, you are going to have problem in one of these few things if you are not careful enough, and it may just cost you 1 year. So be careful about it. Yeah, this is specifically to my third attempt. I made the mistake of assuming that GS optional answer is same as GS answers. I wrote my optional anthropology answers in GS format is like a generalist rather than a specialist, right? You know the difference between GS answer and an optional answer per se, right? You know how GS, we just have to write a general sort of an answer, not a very precise answer, and that will suffice. Right? Hope I'm making sense to all of you. Like, you know, there is this optional thing, right? Where you guys have done mains preparation, any of you? Okay, you guys know that there is a mains exam which has the optional paper, right? Come on, man, just say yes, no, anything. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, the optional paper is something that you have to write answers like an expert, not as a generalist. You're going to realize that with time, and practice is very important. And revision of the topics is very important. Like I said, 70% of your time is probably going to be taken by your options. And the idea, is not to just clear the cutoff. For prelims, it's okay. But for mains, if you want to get a good service, for example, Indian administrative service, which most of you would be wanting, right? Then clearing the cutoff is just not enough. I mean, if you clear the cutoff and you get average marks in interview, then you probably will come in the final list, but the rank that will not get you any good service, or maybe you not even come in the list. So clear the cutoff with at least 100 marks or 70, 80 marks above the cutoff. That only then, if you get average or good marks in your interview, can you hope to come in top 100. And let's face it, you have to come in top 100 if you're a general category guy who wants to get into the IAS. There is no other way out of it. This is the real story. I mean, you should be afraid of this. There is huge amount of competition, so no time can be wasted. You just have to be very, very serious. Get your head down and study. There is no other mind way of putting this. You have to work a lot with your answer writing. I mean, it's a difficult journey, but it's not impossible. If I could do it after so many failures, I'm pretty sure each and every one of you will be able to do it. And I would really be happy if any part of this is helpful for all of you. Saying that, I think this is the last slide that I have about my mistakes. Interview prep, I did not have much problem. Firstly, because I come from a background which is ICSE. I have good I like to think that I have good communication skills, oral communication skills. But the one thing that I want to say is there is a lot of material available in the market, or YouTube, or not social media, on Google, about the civil service journey or civil service study material or videos or everything. As a pragmatic student or aspirant will know what to extract from that. Like, you should know what is it that you want from the test series. You should know what is it that you want from the mock interview. For me, I give you my example to give you the point that I'm trying to make. I knew that communication or let's say I have an idea in my mind to express that, articulation as it is called, right? That is not my problem in interview. Or neither is sitting down in front of 5 people and smiling my way through difficult, I mean doing well through difficult questions or having a pleasant personality, keeping that smile. Those things are not difficult for me. They come naturally to me. So I knew about my strength. But it is very important to know about your weakness also. My weakness was I come from a state which is West Bengal. I have worked in Bangalore. I have worked in Delhi. I have studied in Delhi. I come from Darjeeling district. So these are loaded areas. There is a lot of things that can be asked. And interview, there is no syllabus. So these are the loaded things, right? Which when a lot of questions come from. For example, let's say the cultural, intellectual situation in West Bengal, or has it seen a degradation over years? Or let's say the problems in politics in West Bengal, center state problems. You would have studied that in polity, right? These things. I mean, they can ask you very tricky questions on all these things. But the point I'm trying to make is what I sourced from the different mock interviews that I gave is the way the panelists think when they ask the questions. For example, a person who is from Indian Foreign Service, he would have a very specific thought process of what he wants to ask. For example, my interview was on 11th May. Our Prime Minister had visited these countries, Germany, France, and Norway. I don't know if you guys are aware, he had visited these 3 countries for some summits and everything. Why did he visit these 3 countries? This will not be asking your prelims, it will never be asking your mains. It may be asked, and it was asked in my case, in the interview. Because that is what an IAS officer would be thinking. As a foreign service officer, these people are responsible for creating the foreign policy of a country, right? So they would think of these things that why would a prime minister spend around 5 days of his official life and go to these countries and talk to other people? India should be able to gain something now. So what is it that India stands to gain? I mean, why did you choose only these 3 countries and not other countries? That is the way that the panelists would think. So to understand that, I gave a lot of books. And I sourced most of my study material from these mocks. For example, about West Bengal, they asked me about Vivekananda Ramakrishna. I mean, these things you'll know that what are the things to be studied from your profile for interview. And this principle is valid for prelims as well as mains. The point I'm trying to make is a pragmatic aspirant should know what to extract from the test series. From a prelims test series, it may not be the awesome questions or knowledge that you want to gain. You just probably want to give the prelims mock test in a stress environment, sitting down for 2 hours in your room or maybe in a noisy environment, just to see whether you can perform in a noisy environment. That may be the utility for you for the mock test. For mains, it may be that you are trying to improve your presentation skills. Or in my case, I was just trying to get to a level where I could finish 50 pages in 3 hours with some amount of good material for all the questions. So what you want to extract from the material that you're studying, you should know. I mean, even in life also, you should know why you're doing something right. That is an obvious thing. So that goes here as well. So this last slide is not more about my interview. It is about telling you that you should know what you want from whatever it is that you're doing. That includes why you want to join the civil services also. Right? You should be clear why you want to do this. Because it's a long journey, and I think that this will serve as your motivation in terms of low situations, let's say. So this brings me to the end of my points. I just want to conclude again by saying that this is based on my strategy, based on my understanding of life and UPSC ecosystem. This may not work for you, but please do not take this verbatim, word by word. Try to understand the essence of what I'm saying. In my humble opinion, these are points that are important, but people do tend to miss out because it seems very obvious, but it is actually not. You will learn through your experience that UPSC expects you to do the small, simple things right. If you do them, you're going to clear the exam. If you don't, then like most people, you may not clear the exam. It's just the simple things done right. I mean, my previous manager in Texas Instruments, Mr. Prem Vadapal, used to say this, that success is small things done correctly. A lot of small things done correctly that gives you success. UPSC is like that. This is a marathon of 2 years, 2.5 years, for entire 6-7 months of exam cycle, 3 rigorous rounds. So it's those small things, attention to detail that will actually take you slowly but steadily in that long journey and get you a good rank. So yes, please take this with a pinch of salt. Again, I'm telling you that this is what worked for me. It may not work for you, but try to take back from the essence of what I'm saying. And like lots of hard work will be needed. And just one thing that people say that no, hard work is not needed, smart work is needed. Yeah, I get that point, but the thing is, even to come to a stage to understand what is hard work versus what is smart work, a lot of hard work will be needed to get to that stage also. So don't be under the illusion, like I was in my first and second attempt, that I am so awesome that I'm going to get this exam even with mediocre preparation or mediocre effort. You will not, because there are people who are as good as you, if not better. So don't waste your time. Take your life very seriously at this time. Don't get carried away by social media because distractions the bahut hai. I mean, you just sit down for 5 minutes, open the TV, you're going to get distracted. So stay away from the distractions and please stay away from anything negative that is there in your life. Be it people or be it some event. Because negativity is anyways there in the world and this exam requires positivity as well as very good support system. So value the people around you, value your parents, your friends, make good friends, select the good friends that who are going to stay with you in those highs and lows because you're going to have the lows, trust me. And I'd just like to conclude that the reality of this exam is that many of you will not make it. Okay, that is the hard reality. The thing is, this exam is not the end of the world. Okay, there is a life beyond UPSC. UPSC doesn't mean anything. It's just a part of life. It is never ever the heart of life. I mean, we have been hearing some unfortunate incidents of people trying to harm themselves or take their own lives because of the depression. Yeah, the journey is lonely, but please never think that UPSC नहीं हुआ, civil service नहीं हुआ, WBCS नहीं हुआ, तो I am worthless. Much greater things await you. I mean, you never know what awaits you. When I started, when I was in college, I did not know that I'm going to get in such a good company like Texas Instruments, or even get in there and then meet people who will inspire me to join the civil services. Because you never know where life takes you. So, I mean, enjoy the process. This is a process. This exam, the end result is okay. Enjoy the process. If you come to the interview stage, you will be called for mock interviews, and there you will have the privilege of meeting so many nice people. I was privileged I was privileged to be interviewed by the ex-chief election commissioner, people like Mr. Vikas Swaroop, who I don't know how many of you know this. He has written this book called Q&A, which got made into this movie. How many of you know what is the movie that it got made into? Can you take a guess? Can anyone take a guess? Okay. You have you guys slept off or anything? You guys are listening to me, right? Yeah. Thank you. So you know this movie Slumdog Millionaire, right? Which got Oscars. Vikas Swaroop, a serving Indian Foreign Service officer, he wrote the book Q&A, which got adopted into a movie. So if you see the Slumdog Millionaire acceptance speech at Oscars, you're going to see Mr. Vikas Swaroop standing there, along with all the actors and along with Danny Boyle, who was the director. So these are the legends that you will have the privilege of meeting. So enjoy the process. That's what I'm saying. The end result, getting all India rank 150, 500, 785, these things are there. Enjoy the process. Come out as a better human being because that is exactly what this exam will make you if you try, if you are serious about it. And you see, if you are serious about this exam, you crack it or not, I can guarantee you that you're going to learn values which are going to stand with you throughout your entire life. I mean, I know that if I wouldn't have cleared this exam, I probably would have gone back to the sector that I belong to, right? And I know how much of a better employer or maybe a person would I have become. The balance that comes to your life, the poise, the calmness that comes to your life, that is very important. It teaches you to write properly, talk properly, be upright, be balanced in your thoughts. These are the things that you should value rather than the result. Because I mean, this sounds like a very silly thing for me to say, but it actually is. You should enjoy the process rather than the exam. I keep saying this to any person I meet because this is not something that is much talked about. The what happens to the people who may not be able to clear this exam. This is not a very difficult exam. It is the approach. I mean, it's a difficult exam, but it is not impossible. Is what I'm saying. The approach matters, and one of the important parts of the approach is to enjoy the process rather than the result. So I think I have come to the last slide. I don't know how much sense I made in the last half an hour. for whatever time that it took. But it's been a privilege talking to all of you, and thank you very much for being such a patient host. You see, it's easier to give a speech or lecture. It's more difficult for people to pay attention for the last 35 minutes. But you have been very patient. I don't know how much of what I said has made sense, but I really hope that even if one of the things that you can take back from this and not make the mistake that I made, I think my efforts here would be would be effective. Yeah, thank you.
You should sit.
I request if you guys want to ask sir some questions.
Someone
Sir,
should get the
we
chair.
Thank
Thank you so much, Abhijit. That was so enervating. Thank you. So it was such an enervating speech. I think all of you had a lot of takeaways from this lecture, right? Revision, the most important thing, which I always say, revision is the key. Make the notes properly, revise very well, know the do's and don'ts that you have to go ahead with. And most importantly, be a great human being. Because the choices you make, it shapes the world of words, which you choose to write your answer with, or the world of words which shapes your thoughts when you are giving an interview. All right. So thank you so much, Abhijit. Oh, sit, please. So that was so kind of you to go ahead with all the details, and trust me, all the words he has put up on the board, every single word was lilting with life, experience. The eyes were looking at you, but while he was looking at you, he was reminiscing his journey and the details of his journey, the hours and hours of tedious hard work that went on the desk and the chair all by himself. It's a lonely journey, so very truly told. But yes, good friends, good teachers, they stand for you. They stand through your thick and thin. They own up your success and moreover your failures. They know where you are. So honor the journey, respect the journey, love and celebrate the journey. Don't feel studying is tedious. It is a celebration, a process of transformation, and every single day you become a better human being who is able to see the difference and the transformation unfolding within. It's like rising of the phoenix, right? So just enjoy this journey. And we are so honored to have you over here, Abhijit. Please sit. Yes, so the house is open for the question answer. So you people can raise your questions. All the questions that you have, feel free to ask. I really love the slides and the details you have got thoughtfully on the slides. It was very detailed and very honest, I must say. Okay, so the house is open to all of you now.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much. I was just thinking of removing it. रुक जाओ भाई, एक मिनट बच्चा लो. I'll just open my hair. That's a typical feminine thing. His शक्ल तो ठीक है, photo. All right.
ना ठीक है. अरे
बस speech का ही.
हाँ speech का.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure. God bless you in this journey.
Thank you.
Make it big. And if anything is needed, like you will have a lot of seniors to support you. Yeah, sure. You can take it. Like,
I take it from her.
take it. हाँ.
Thank you.
Number तो अच्छे से देखो. और मुझे भी अगर हो तो like you have like a lot of seniors who are 20 years, 25 years senior in the system,
Yes.
in different streams, and I hope everything works.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Ma'am, should he also be given the mic or?
You can just give the brief.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So why how have you managed this in January and you are working? So I am also working
So you guys heard his question. What he's saying is that as a working professional, what are the things that can be done, right? Yeah. Okay. No, it's fine. I got a question. Any other question that? Yeah. After choosing anthropology, or the reason why I chose anthropology is what you're saying. Okay. What was the graduation subject? Electrical. I'm also from electrical background, so yeah, I got your question. Thank you. Just before the thing, this was my fourth attempt, right? My first two attempts, you can say down here. My first two attempts, I could not clear prelims, but my option was electrical engineering. I decided to change that after my third attempt because, or before my third attempt, because I thought that anthropology would be a scoring option. And the reasons I sourced from the seniors, ancestor wisdom, like I said, and also the fact that in technical subjects, right? Let's say there is a 4-page answer, and I'll come to the first question and it later. I'll just answer the second one. In technical papers, right? If there is a 4-page answer, then if you write 3.5 pages of complete right answer and then you screw up in the last half page, then out of the 20 marks for those 4 pages, you probably will end up getting 3 or 4 marks. This is in technical subjects like electrical engineering and other subjects. But what I saw that is in art subjects, for example, sociology and anthropology or something like that, if those half page is wrong, then I can still end up getting around 7, 8, 9, and 10 if those 3.5 pages are correct. So the point I'm trying to make is that art subjects normally tend to be a little additive in evaluation marking, and the technical subjects tend to be punitive in marking. So that is one of the reasons why I took anthropology. Another reason was that it was science related. There was evolution and all these things. Yeah, but that is specific to anthropology, would not make sense to a lot of people. I think his broad question was, how do you choose to go away from technical sort of optionals? Well, you have to know how good you are in the technical subject. I personally was not the best in electrical engineering. It had been 2 years since I had taken my, fourth year. So the books I did not have, the material is hardly available in the market. Test series for the technical, optionals is something that you're going to struggle with if you do. So these are the reasons that I moved away from it. You talk to seniors, you talk to people who moved away from subjects, and then you're going to get a lot of good information. Your first question is about the working professional. Well, it's a challenge. That is the reason why I left my job. I could not prepare after coming home. You can do 2 or 3 hours, but that is definitely not enough. You have to take a call. I think the only thing that I will say is you have to be practical about these things. If you are leaving a job, be really sure that if you are not able to clear this exam, then if you try to go back to the same field, which probably you will, then it should be easy or at least doable for you to get your job back or work in the same industry. You leave with that much experience, is all I'm saying. I left after 3.5 years. I was pretty sure that if I screw up my civil services, I can get back to, the TI sort of companies, and may not be on day one, but I'm going to get my job back. So you should have that clarity. I think that was one yardstick that I used. Apart from that, it's completely your call how much preparation you are able to put in with your job. That will help you take the decision. Yeah. Any other question? Yeah. I'll come to you. Yeah.
So your second and third, your credit marks were somewhat near about the cutoff.
Yeah.
This is the last attempt. The marks they use there.
Yeah.
The cutoff. What different you have
This
done?
is a good question. There is no difference that I did from my third and fourth attempt. I don't know how it became. I think it was also the fact that in my third attempt, if you see the answer, there were 4 or 5 questions that were struck off by UPSC. They were not evaluated. So, those 5 questions were right according to me as per the coaching institute's answer keys. So UPSC did not use them for marking. Maybe that's why many of the people got very close to the cutoff actually. So I think 2020 attempt, my third attempt should not be a good benchmark for saying that I got just close to it. My 2020 and 21 attempt prelims wise, there was no difference. In fact, 2021 attempt, I did exactly the same thing. I dedicated only 2 months to prelims before prelims. In the Telegram channel that I was saying, I have elaborated all of these things in detail. If you search my name in YouTube, you'll find that I have talked about some main strategy as well as, the specific question that you asked. So please do refer to those resources because I don't think in the interest of time and also cover more questions, I should be talking in detail about these things which already exist in the internet. So yeah, but I get your question. There is not much difference that I personally don't know how it. Prelims is like that only. It's I think God's grace so that I got 118 in a 87 part of people. Yes.
Sir, what is your strategy to revise?
Revise effectively. I think the broad strategy I would say is you work very, very hard to create that excellent notes. Sit. You study from multiple, I'll give you one subject example, man. Art and culture. So I studied ancient, medieval, and art and culture together. I am of the firm belief that you cannot study art and culture without studying ancient and medieval together. It's very integrated. So I studied these three subjects together. I have my notes very well made. I worked very, very hard for that. I studied from the old NCRTs as well as from the YouTube videos as well as from the new NCRTs a little bit, and whatever I could pick up from the test series I have added. So that note is very good actually, and it covers mains and in prelims also. It's there in the Telegram channel, so please do refer to that. I've put all the notes there. To revise the basic strategy, what I feel is you come out of the note making cycle as fast as possible. You work very hard in a note making cycle. I mean, leave no stone unturned. You cover as much as material as possible, but have a cutoff date. Iske baad, I'm not going to write any new notes. And you can do that for your these subjects, which are static. There is no current affairs involved in, right? Art and culture and all this stuff. You have a cutoff date. Iske baad, I will not study anything new. And you keep revising your notes. Keep revising, and keep practicing. Practice so that you know whether your revision is enough, and practice so that you can source new questions, and more importantly, practice from standard UPSC prelims type question papers. And this practice thing is also effective in your mains also, like I mentioned. I hope that answers your question. Right? Yeah. You can see the group that I have, it's detailed there, and in YouTube channel also it's there. So just to pick, there are a lot of videos. I don't remember a lot of them, but I mean, it's there. Yes. Any other question? Yes, ma'am. For current affairs, strategy and sources for current affairs. Right? Thanks. So current affairs, I had joined test series where current affairs, PDFs were available. Also, okay, current affairs I sourced from multiple sources. I mean, you may be surprised, but I have never touched a newspaper in all these 4 years of preparation. It's only after clearing mains of 2021, my latest attempt, that I picked up the newspaper, or not newspaper, I saw it in this. I used to read the PDFs in this, and I thought that, Acha, Abhi, I think we should read the newspaper in detail, because newspaper has a particular way of thinking or writing the articles, which helps in interview. But before that, I had never read the newspaper, even picked up the newspaper in the 4 years preceding that. So I used to, depend on monthly compilations from 2-3 different sources, as well as from YouTube videos of daily news analysis for sometimes. I used to cover daily news analysis at one go. For example, every Sunday, I used to sit down for 3 or 4 hours, put the videos in 2x speed and write my notes, pause it and write my notes. You can do this. 2x speed in YouTube videos will save you time. Yeah, so I never had a fixed source for it. I covered it from various sources, but again, I made sure that at least 1.5 months before my prelims, I'm not going to start study anything new. If there is a new question, new fact, or new notes that I'm going to add to, it will be from the test series. It will not be from the current affairs parts. So that I was very clear in my mind. And you asked me the second part of the question, current affairs strategy and revision probably. Sources, like I said, the sources, right? It was the monthly magazines as well as the daily news analysis videos of YouTube, and any test series say kuch bhi acha mila to I used to source that. It was from various sources. There was no fixed source. That's why I cannot name it. But one thing that I did differently is I grouped my current affairs, because current affairs you see is from various different topics, right? It's all there, you just put up. I used to group the current affairs into high topics. And this is again, I have mentioned in my channel that, like, for example, important bodies of India and their chairman. Like, if any new body comes that I see in the newspaper or see in the notes or see in the DNA or the compilations, I used to put that in those 3 or 4 pages list. For example, there is this National Board of Wildlife, right, which is headed by the Prime Minister. But then there is the National Tiger Conservation Authority, which is headed by the Minister of Forest and Climate Change. Now, these are small things that people tend to miss out, and questions are asked. The thing is, UPSC also knows that people will miss out on this. So, if you sort of list down, or wherever you come across important bodies, you just list down in those important bodies on a page. Then, at the end or before your prelims, you're going to have a lot of clarity about the various categories of current affairs. Like just like important bodies, you can have for important tribunals of India, or in environment, you can have national parks and important national parks and physical features that are in them, which river runs through them, which hill is there, which temple may be inside that. These are all there in the notes, by the way, that I mentioned. Please don't get scared. You can use the effort that I made in creating those notes, and you can download them and read them. The point I'm trying to make is, if you categorize your current affairs into some categories, then you will see that you will be able to cover a broad area. You will have a bird's eye view of the vast current affairs, because it's going to be vast. It's the most extensive among all your prelims materials, and also you will revise faster. So categorization was something that I did, and I covered from multiple sources. Just to sum up. Yeah. Any other question?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, what should be what's the strategy for ACES?
Essay.
How to make, or should we do some additional something?
Okay. Before I answer this question, I'd like to say that I come from the ICSE background, where writing good English was part of and my father always, right from when I was a small child, or 4 or 5 years, he took a lot of pain to get me to write good English. I mean, right from my childhood. So that paid off. So the point I'm trying to make is, although I got very good marks in essay this time, I may not be the right person to suggest the strategy for essay, but I'll still go ahead and tell you what I did. I practiced not much for essay because I was sort of confident that I'll be able to express myself. Expression of ideas was not my problem. I again focused on value addition. For example, quotations, or examples of very nice things, or examples of nice people having done nice things, or some statistics like India has around 22% poverty, under poverty rate or something. This is a stat that you can still say that even after 75 years of independence, we have 25% of poverty, people under poverty, and something like that. Even other validation like catchy introduction, catchy headings. For example, I'm forgetting. Yeah, let's say there is a scheme where, or let's say women empowerment, right? We've been trying to do women empowerment right from 2000, since our independence, right? And it's a long and slow process. We still have a lot to go, right? We still are failing in a lot of areas, but overall, it's a positive trend that we are having, right? Yes, improving overall. But there are small hiccups here and there. Like, for example, there are still women security issues, women hunger issues, people have anemia and stuff. So, if you want to start 4 or 5 paragraphs in essay, there are subheadings, right, that you give in essay. So if you want to start 4 or 5 paragraphs where you want to say which will deal with that we still are doing well enough, but we still have a lot way to go, then you can have a very catchy heading for that, like women empowerment dash losing the battle but winning the war. So that in war there are multiple battles, right? So you may lose 1 or 2 battles, but you can win the bigger war. You understand the point I'm trying to make? So if you give catchy headings like that, that will catch the examiner's grasp. These are the things that will help. Last year, this year's my times essay paper, all the 8 questions were from philosophical essays. So I have this theory that UPSC would have invited Socrates and Plato to come out of their graves, sit down in UPSC Bhavan and frame the essay paper. So you never know how UPSC is going to make the paper. The thing is, you have to do your part well. That goes for prelims, interview, as well as mains. Do your part well. Do the value additions correctly. If you think that expression is a problem, you want hard to practice. But I will keep it at that because I am not the best person to suggest. I got good marks in essay without much effort, according to me. But many people have a lot of struggle in essay. Some people take it lightly and then end up having a problem. I mean, ma'am was here sometime back. She was mentioning about a student who got 130, 146 in, I think, last year's paper in essay. Last year around 130 something. This year he got so overconfident he did not practice. He got very low marks in essay, and that's why he could not clear his exam. So you have to know your strengths, but don't take it too lightly. Also, you have to keep practicing. Also, that goes for everything. Yeah. Next question. Anyone? About WBCS also, if there is, I'm okay. I'm not the right person. Sorry. Yeah, I just realized it. But I think whatever we talked about, this is general stuff that can help you in any exam. I mean, revision is something that helps in any exam, and it's, I think, one of the most less, it's taken for granted that revise hum kar hi lenge, hamare paas material, we need to keep gathering good material. He's studying that, I should also study that. No. You keep faith in your material and you keep practicing again and again. That is what is going to help you rather than studying new material again. I mean, every other day you get some new PDF, you start making notes out of that, get it printed, and also these things are counterproductive, I believe, in the long run. Yeah, question, please. Come on, man. You have even more, but come on.
Any questions? If we don't have any questions, we will end the session
Sure.
over here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I just want to ask, was it useful? I mean, whatever I talked about. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, thank
Any
you.
more questions? No more questions. We are ending the session over here. We're glad to have sir here with us.
Thank you.
Wind up.